The last one before we move on to our little bonus segment. Coaching crybabies, for a PC version of what I'd actually like to call them. Matias Almeida comes straight out after Houston signs Hector Herrera and is like, man, good for Houston. It must be nice to have people who care and spend money. Like on a broadcast, like a press release. Hernan Losada at DCU comes out saying his team is not made for the playoffs this year because they didn't go out and get the right people, even after beating up on Charlotte last week. Jared Struber came in and said we have to be realistic with expectations after not getting the players he wanted. I think this is all like, again, reverse psychology, because Ronnie Dyla said the same thing last year. He won MLS Cup. Jared Struber says it. We're 6 for 6 on road points. Like, it's got to be some sort of, reverse psychology. But coaches are finally starting to call out their cheap ownership. This isn't 2010, MLS 2.0, where you got one or two big name players and had to deal with whatever draft class you had. This is a different MLS 4.0 where money matters. Coaches are starting to call out their owners for not getting the players that they need to be successful. Is this a good look for the league, or should we not be doing this?
I think it's a good look. I think that we need to be calling out bad owners who don't want to spend, because the league is growing very quickly, and the resources that this league has available to them are immense, and we need to be capitalizing on it if we want to continue to grow. If we continue to have owners that don't spend, we will just regress back into MLS like 2.0 at that point, which is, it's not what we want to do. We want to stray away from the retirement league mindset. We want to be a team that's producing young talent for Europe. And if we're going to do that, then I think we need to keep putting money into it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be into transfer revenue. It can be putting money into really good youth training. So something like Dallas, where you could develop these young players, sell them on through your academy. Or you could do it more like Atlanta does, where you buy big name South American players who have high potential, and then you sell them on to Europe once they get some more recognition and game time here. But I think it is a good look. They need to start calling out the owners that aren't going to spend the money, because I think we need to continue to develop the league and grow more.
I agree. I'm completely on top of that. Again, basically for all the things you just said, we are trying to compete with global markets, and we still have owners who won't fill their DP slots. Why? And the growth of this league falls on the shoulder of the owners, right? Coaches can only make players so good. Players can only play so well. But to grow the league into being globally focused in a place where we are both creating good players and creating a league where players want to come to, it's all on the owners. The coaches can't do that. So it's really about how much are you willing to invest to see the future better than it is today. If you hire great coaches and expect them to make miracles out of nothing, you get nothing. There are no miracles. You just get nothing. Almeida specifically has made it clear that he's done with San Jose, but they had a ton of potential to be great if San Jose worked with him instead of expected him to work for them. Does that make sense? They expected him to just show up, take a pile of garbage, and make it shine, instead of getting him the players that he needed. And he just said, screw it, I'm done. Losada has called out a consistently underwhelming DC United board, whose best signing in the last 4 years was freaking Wayne Rooney. Consistently underwhelming. It will only be good for the league to force owners to be held accountable for the lack of action, and it will make us better. So I think you're spot on. Do you think with all of what we're doing, this is going to change the way that MLS owners are approaching the way that they spend? Or do you think it'll change the way that they hire people? And are they just going to hire yes men until they get fired?
I think there is no shot that this changes the way that they spend. None. And it sucks. That's not how I want it to be. But yeah, listen, if the owners don't want to spend their money, they're not going to spend their money. And I don't think the coach calling them out is going to change that. It takes a lot of pressure on an owner for them to change the way that they view the team. And one thing that I feel like I've noticed, and this is common in England and in here in the US, a lot of these owners don't own the team because they're passionate about the sport. They own the team because it's a good business decision for them and it can make them money. In which case, if they're not passionate about it, they may not care to spend money. If you're Robert Kraft, he's consistently making money off of these like draft picks and young players that the team makes, develops and ships off to Europe, and then he doesn't have to reinvest any of it. He spends it on Omar Gonzalez and Josie Altidore, which cost him probably like pennies. So then he could just collect all the profits. And I don't think it's going to change anything.
To be fair, his 3 DPs are great signings.
Yes, I think that they are great signings as well.
But those were the first 3 good DPs he's hit on in like 10
Ever.
years.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you. I will add one thing to that, and that I do have some hope that the good owners, the new owners, will listen. The bad ones, the good owners will listen and change the way they spend. The bad ones will change the way they hire, and what you'll end up seeing is a disconnect between the good and the bad until somebody forces the owners out.
Yeah. And I mean, it goes back to the same conversation that we've had ever since we started the podcast. You want a clear-cut way to get bad owners out, promotion relegation.
Oh, yeah.
Send them down to the next level if they don't want to spend the money. And in that case, they're going to start leaking money. And then if that's the case, they're either going to sell the team or the team's going to fold.
We do not have time for a complete.
I know.
But we could do it. We actually have done it. You guys should go listen back to some of the episodes. We've done it.
Oh, it's early on.
Oh, it's very early. That was like episode 10, like 1.10.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was a good one. That was a good one. My last question. Let's say that we all know that this is going to make a change. We know for a fact that if you start complaining long enough, somebody will do something about it. Which coach needs to start screaming?
I was waiting for this one.
I've got
No question to me.
I've got a good one.
It's Bruce Arena. No question to me.
No, you're so wrong.
No, I am not. No,
Bruce Arena's got the 3 best DPs in the league. What do you mean?
No, listen. Hold on.
I don't want to listen. I don't want to listen to garbage. Stop it.
Bruce built up and made New England a ton of money so far in just in the Tejan Buchanan sale in itself. They're going to make a ton more money because they have a lot of key players that they can sell on for good profit. Brandon Bye, Matt Turner, they just sold probably for good money. I don't remember what he went for. Henry Kessler, Buxa's going rumored for like 10 million. It's crazy. These guys were not valued at this before Bruce came in. Bruce was the one that built them up and sold them on for profit. And then what reinforcements does Bruce get this year after they sell on some of their players? Omar Gonzalez, Josie Altidore.
Sebastian Lletget, U.S. national team extraordinaire.
Yeah.
Listen, until one of those all right, so let me ask you this then. Who do you bring in with 3 designated players? Where do you spend that money? And what do you spend? And what position are you spending it on?
You don't necessarily have to spend on bringing in like a DP player right away, but you can spend the money to go get like a nice goalkeeper replacement for Matt Turner. Go spend some of the money to bring in somebody outside of the league who's gonna lock it down in goal. I know that they have their 3 DPs at the moment are Heel, Bow, and Buxa.
Yep.
Okay. I still think that Bruce Arena could get. I don't know. I didn't even think about the DP part. But I said Bruce because my mindset was thinking like Lorenzo Insigne type signing. And I was thinking to myself, we don't even need to question what would Bruce Arena do with like essentially unlimited resources. Because we know what he would do with it. Because we already saw him do it with the LA Galaxy when they were the most dominant MLS team in MLS history. So
2017 Toronto FC would like a word.
Sorry, the most dominant franchise for a period
Dynasty.
in MLS history.
You want the word dynasty.
Dynasty. Yes, thank you. That's the right word. They were the most dominant MLS dynasty in history. And that was when he had basically at the time unlimited resources. And he had Beckham, he had Donovan. I mean, they were.
Who was the last one? Come on. I know you were just about to forget it.
Beckham, Donovan. I don't think was Keane there at that point.
Yes, of course he was.
I didn't know if for some reason I thought he was a little later, like 20.
This is why we don't let you think.
Well, or whatever.
The only correct answer. I'm going to cut you off. I'm tired of listening to you try and babble. The only correct answer is Robin Fraser in Colorado. That man needs to be on every rooftop screaming for a striker. You were playing Jordan Lewis up top with Diego Rubio on the bench because he has gone out and they brought in a 19-year-old attacking midfielder instead of gotten somebody who can score goals. Robin Fraser needs to be screaming for a striker. That's the answer. But it was a great try. I really do appreciate your effort.
I still stick by my answer. Could you imagine like what Bruce could do if they had like the same ambitious sign? I know they have 3 strong DPs right now, but imagine you got like Lorenzo Insigne level type of players for Bruce to work with. I mean, I don't think New England would ever lose another supporter shield for like the next 5 years, at least.
Okay. So when I put out a tweet at the end of this episode that says which coach has more to complain about their owner, Bruce Arena at New England or Robin Fraser in Colorado, and everybody says Colorado, what do I get to do? Or what do I get?
Most of these guys were signed, I think, before even Bruce got here, right?
Exactly. So what else are they going to give him? They brought him in, set him up for success.
Yes, and Boots is like already almost out the door. And their replacement signing was Josie. They haven't replaced Turner at all. I think at the moment they are okay because they still have Boots on the roster at the moment, because Heel is still here, and because Bo is still here. But at some point in time, those spots are going to open up, and they don't have a plan, or it doesn't seem like they have a plan at the moment to replace them. So
I
think
really quick look at the standings here. Oh yeah, they're above Atlanta.
They're above Atlanta because they played 2 games already.
All right, listen. Again, details don't matter.
I think the Fraser one is a good shout. It's a good
shout.
It's
a better shout than Bruce Arena.
Listen, they bought Robin Fraser, Kellen Acosta. You can't say anything else. Like, what better signing did you need?
What do you mean? They sold Kellen Acosta from Robin Fraser.
Well, didn't they buy him, Kellen Acosta, also? When did Fraser start?
Like a year and a half ago.